Right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Let me test the clicker first. Can I have my slides there? All right. So, my topic today is about fostering cloud culture within an organization, right? So, before I proceed, my presentation or my sharing pretty much today, just a caveat to my presentation or my sharing today. Whatever I'm sharing here is actually apply based on our own experience moving to the cloud. Being a bank who's been developing most of our application on-prem. And in 2020, we took the chance, or pretty much we took the leap to move to the cloud for some of our very critical applications, right? So bear in mind that we are talking about people here. In the technology tenets, the main technology tenets of people, process, technology. Process and technology is always objective, is always clear. But when we talk about people, it's always subjective. It is always a lot of variables that may change the result, right? Hence, I'm sharing today based on my experience going through that leap of faith, going to the cloud for Bank Islam, where previously we had only one core banking system on-prem, and by introducing a new digital banking proposition to the market, we have to move, or we have to create another core banking system purely in the cloud. All right, so I'll be covering 4 particular agendas. And the first one will be the topic itself, which is embracing a cloud-first strategy, fostering cloud computing organization in the organization, sorry. All right, so you are seeing here is the actual people in Bank Islam. And I would say that these people covering a lot of different various areas. And some of them have been with Bank Islam for the longest years, 30 years, 20 years. And some of them are just newly joined Bank Islam for the past 1 or 2 years, right? So the background of our workforce, the people, is pretty much various and quite different, right? Culturally, education, experience, whatnot, right? Having said that, we are before pretty much a dinosaur when it comes to technology, because a lot of a legacy system that we use back in our data centers, and with the new technology stack that we're deploying currently, so we need to have a new blood, new breed, new tech skill, whatnot, right? And if you can see here, you'll see some doing what we normally commonly know before, which is system administrator, whatnot. And we also do have people who catch online bad guys, so-called, right? So that's our job today. And then we are talking about, before I start, I have to share with you guys why we need to move to the cloud. Simply because a few years ago, in 2019, Bank Negara announced that they are issuing 5 new digital banking licenses. As you guys heard today, we have GX banks. My fellow friend just now, Sazul, who also another digital banking proposition for the Malaysian market. So all this we see as a new competition coming to the market. And we, as a traditional bank, so-called, have to compete against these very agile, very fast-moving kind of organizations. Just look at Grab, how they grow, right? How they quickly introduce a new product to their customers. It's very, very engaging. It's very, very interesting. They be able to capture the market very fast, right? So those are the learning points that we noted at the point of time. And we know if we don't take the step into the cloud, we are going to be left out with all these 5 digital banks, perhaps, right? So we take the leap. We know all the advantages of going to the cloud, but as a bank, which again, my friend Sazul did mention earlier on, we are tightly regulated with Bank Negara. We have a lot of compliance that we have to look after, right? Hence, that's where come the difficulties when moving to the cloud for a bank, right? So how did we deal with this kind of risk? Banking is always about a business of managing a risk, right? In this case, we are managing a risk in technology. So, in order for us not to sacrifice or so much impacting our current customers on our current core banking system, we decided that we have to create a new unit, which we call Center for Digital Experience, to basically experiment a new sort of technology, right, in the cloud, to be implemented to new set of customer on a totally new stack of technologies. So what does it mean? If you can see there, CDX is actually a speedboat to forefront the technology part to discover what is good about cloud that can be implemented back to the bank, right? So if it's failed, it's only involves CDX, but the rest of Bank Islam customers or the whole organization is safe. So that's how we ring-fence the risk of technology when we talk about moving to the cloud, right? So through CDX, what we did is that CDX, the Center of Digital Experience, is responsible to come up with a new business model, run purely in the cloud. Yes, we build everything in the cloud, even the core banking system. And then we experiment new technology. We integrate with a lot of API partners. We integrate with a lot of SaaS providers, eKYC, for example, and as well as customer service through the cloud. Everything is through API integration or SDK. And then the question is that how do you actually collaborate, driving the collaboration to make sure that your whole journey of cloud going to be a successful one, right? So there's no easy answer to that, because obviously we started this in 2019 upon announcement by the Bank Negara at the point of time that they are introducing new 5 digital banking. Then we start to think about how do we react, or how do we supposed to take this forward. And the board of directors approved the proposal to come out or to spin off a new unit with a new digital banking proposition to the market. And upon approval by the board, the team basically conduct what we call a session, right? A design thinking session, adopting all the agile methodology to validate our propositions. And they came out with MVP, right? The minimum viable product, for us to test it out and test to the market and get their view and feedbacks. And in 2022, June, we officially launched to the public, whereby prior to that, a lot of testing being conducted internally. So the key point here that I would like to share when it comes to collaboration, I actually receive a lot of questions coming from colleagues or friends out there when I do such a similar engagement. How do you get approval from the regulator, Bank Negara in this case? How do you convince Bank Negara to give you guys approval? So my answer is that it's not so much about convincing Bank Negara, but rather than you have to convince your first stakeholder, which is your senior management as well as your board of directors. Forget about convincing the regulators or whoever that you think you have to convince outside your organization, because at the end of the day, if your board of directors or your senior management don't believe in your journey, don't believe in your plan, don't share your view, forget about it. You're wasting your time, right? So at the end of the day, like our experience, Bank Negara asked my board of directors, hey, how confident you guys are with this movement to the cloud? And the board of directors can articulately share with Bank Negara what's our plan, why we are doing this, what are the business proposal or the business case that we are solving. Right? Once Bank Negara convinced enough, hearing from the board of directors, be given us approval to proceed. Right? But in ability of your main stakeholder to articulate the same may affect your project. And then obviously stakeholders engagement. In this case, it will be internal. In our case, it's a business unit, the support unit, even within the IT team ourselves, right? So we have a lot of issues when it comes to having a new stack of technology versus the old stack of technology. Obviously, people who's doing IT the old way want to maintain that way, and the new way of working in the cloud, thinking that they are the best. So how do we marry them together? That's the question. Then we talk about cross-functional team, how the current on-prem people can move to the cloud or vice versa. Because at the end of the day, we are running two speed of digitalizations here. Bank Islam is running in the cloud and as well as in on-premise, right? We also have a conflict resolution mechanism, which means is that if we have a conflict between whether we should move this to the cloud or we should remain this on-prem, there's one particular stakeholders, a committee to decide that and give pretty much the direction so that everyone can follow. It's very, very important and clear. And at the end of the day, how all of this technical team or even the support team, whoever involved within this project, have a tools to share, to update seamlessly, right? Without having go through the hassle of searching email, for example, right? And why Bank Islam moved to the cloud? Obviously, I did mention that we are pretty much dinosaur previously in terms of how we manage our application because everything is on-prem and rely on a core banking system that's the legacy to us. But the new business, we know, it is all always API driven. How we are going to connect to the fintechs must be through the APIs, right? And through the cloud, only then we will be enabled to know our customer insight, right? Data analytics. Of course, I can spend a lot of money to do analytics on-prem, but again, I have to fork out a lot of money to start that project on-prem. And unfortunately, we are not having that deep pocket, but cloud offers us a level playing field for us to do this. And our application development also being changed from a monolithic development into much more microservices containerized application so that we are going to have a very stable, scalable application that we offer to public. Inshallah, by next year, we will be introducing our new internet banking and mobile banking application, which we develop purely in the cloud. And obviously, I don't have to tell you guys, I believe most of you guys here are pretty much aware about why cloud is good from a certain perspective, right? But what I'm saying here, not everything that we move to the cloud, I also have something that I keep to myself. For example, customer data, right? So not everything that we expose to the cloud, things that logical, for example, channel, customer fronting application, of course, those that require a sudden surge of resources during paydays, festive, whatnot, sales, those are the things that we push to the cloud. But for those databases, whatever, whatnot, I would rather keep in my own data center for the sake of comfort, know that is much secure. All right, and then what's good about cloud again, through our digital banking journey, we can integrate with our eKYC provider seamlessly, quickly, within less than a month. Okay, so the story goes about our digital core banking system like this, yeah. In a normal deployment of core banking system, usually you're gonna take about 1 year to 2 years just to basically from the initiation of project all the way to completion. You have to come up with the scope of work, blah, blah, blah. You have to buy the servers, you have to basically to make sure that the migration of the core banking system works well, whatnot. But in the case of our new digital core banking system, I can recall, if not mistaken, the migration from our testing environment to the production environment, enabling it to production environment, just took about 1 month. And that 1 month is actually comprises of 3 weeks of trainings, of products, and 1 week of the actual migration. Stability in migration in 1 or 2 days. The rest of 5 days is actually pretty much stabilization that we look into. So that's how fast we can actually spin off a new services in the cloud, right? And then obviously scalability is our main thing here. I can't afford to purchase hardware for a specific peak time that I'm going to use perhaps 1 or 2 days in a month. But that wasn't the case anymore in the cloud. So the key consideration here, when we want to move to the cloud, the engagement with the stakeholders again, what we need to convince them is, obviously you have to answer the question of what actually we try to achieve from the business objective, right? What business problem that we are trying to solve here, right? It's good. Remember, this is not a technology project. A cloud is just a tool. But what actual business value that we are bring to the organization by moving to the cloud? If we are not doing this for the sake of business team, then the question that we have to answer is that what problem statement that we are solving that can bring a business value or a financial value to the organization? What kind of saving that we're talking here? And as a banks, of course, risk is the most important thing that we are talking about. So what are the risks? Those are the things that we have to identify, whether we can accept the risk or something that we cannot accept, all right? That is key to us. And then at the end of the day, we have to align the organizational priorities. What would be the bank's priorities back then? So I would say that with regard to priorities of the bank at this point of time, the technology divisions of Bank Islam, which is under my purview, is responsible to make sure that the business is always have the ability to introduce something new to the market in a fast speed and very agile. So we enable the business to do that. And then secondly, we want to make sure that with the profit that we have today, it must sustain. And then if it's not growing, it must sustain with the current economic condition, obviously. And then how do we sustain? Through cost optimization. We want to make sure that our investment goes to the right resources and it being optimized accordingly. And then from the perspective of product, we have a lot of products, savings, financial, whatnot, right? So there's a lot of product that use a similar or same tech stack altogether within the bank. I believe in your organization also perhaps having the same problem. So every single product using the same infrastructure, but yet they are redundant. So how do we maximize the investment and efficiency of the usage technology within this? Is obviously through product consolidations, and through cloud we have a true view of what is being used by the business unit. So our FinOps is very much we can bill back to the customers or the business unit again, hey, look, this is how much you use for your particular product. And then last but not least, obviously we want to do this, we are doing this for operational efficiency, right? Because we, at the end of the day, whatever product that we introduce to the customers, we always want to have a peaceful life of our IT operation guy. No one want to, work in the middle of the night answering to incident, whatnot, right? So having a very scalable and high availability system is a must. Hence the reason when we execute a cloud program, we build a virtual structure of Cloud Center of Excellence. Cloud Center of Excellence being monitored by a program steering committee chaired by the Group Chief Digital Officer. And there's also Leadership Council, which also attended by myself. What we are looking at people who actually do the work, and as well who people run the program. At the end of the day, what Cloud Center of Excellence allow us to do is to validate a certain premise that we built ourselves. For example, how we run FinOps, how we run platform engineering, how we run DevOps. So those things to be validated, and luckily when we do this in cloud, we have a safe space to do this within a non-production environment. And if it does not really working as what intended for, we can simply scrap it out and start over again, right? So I think that's pretty much about the sharing that I have today, which I hope give you a bit overview on how we do or shape a culture within an organization. But then again, I would like to remind you guys, we treat this as a unique situation, a unique implementation to an organization. At the end of the day, you have to understand your own people, your own organization, your own appetite, and your own business direction, right? So I think I end that with thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.